Hello and welcome to the Sacred Rainbow Current Summit. My name is Kerry Bridget McCrory, and I want to thank everybody so much who is going to attend the next few days and all the very, very generous wisdom and sharings that are going to come forth from other speakers, from other people with deep wisdom and deep knowledge that have come to share on this summit. So thank you to all of the listeners, everybody who's come here, and all of the speakers. Um, I am a holistic therapist. I qualified as an aromatherapist and beauty therapist and reflexologist back in the 1990s, about 1998. So that has been a huge part of my path, bringing care to people through my work as a holistic therapist or a therapist in general. My husband has been with me throughout the whole journey when I discovered this was the path I wanted to take. Because initially, my first path on leaving school would have been typing and admin work before I went. And then I was a nursing assistant for a period of time in the nursing, and I felt there was something for me, and that was the path that I gradually took. And I took it at a time when in Ireland, believe it or not, it wasn't a popular choice to go into like beauty therapy and holistic. I had to travel and do everything to acquire all them qualifications. So I have been very, very blessed in my work, in what I do, my career overall during my life. I can say that I have been lucky enough to work where I want to work and be sharing what I want to share. And what I would say also about the holistic path, it very much deepened for myself unexpectedly on I'm not even going to say a holistic level, on a spiritual level. My path deepened when I was into my career about 7 years. Um, so I had originally started as a holistic beauty practitioner in the caring field, but at that stage in my life, I didn't particularly have a belief. I had believed as a child in spirit and just in spirit and God. I had believed till I was about, say, 12, 13, 14, 12, 13. And then, as I began to question things and just why was everything sort of repetitive and the same? So in my late teens, because of that, I sort of took everything and laid it to the side and says, right, I don't believe in anything. I don't believe in spirituality or what I did. I made the choice basically to go down the material path. Um, but in the mid 2000s, I was acquiring everything on a really good level, on a material level. I had absolutely everything I had ever wanted. I had a beautiful home, I had my husband, I had my beautiful, beautiful children, and just everything. And it was at that stage in my life that this very strange, like an emptiness, like a void, like something was missing. And that's the only way I can explain it. And this sort of a search started inside my being that something was missing. And maybe about, I don't think it would have been as long as a year, but sort of maybe between 8 months and a year into that sensation and experience, I had a dream. And the dream was actually the turning path for me to open up and realize, yes, there is spirit and spirit is real. But once that happened, it was like I opened another doorway that I didn't realize I was opening, a very powerful doorway. Because I do remember, even as a holistic practitioner and beauty salon owner, I remember having something about, maybe down the line. I don't know why, but I had this in my head. It might be nice to go into like color therapy. It was just like a word at that stage, but it wasn't something that I thought deeply about. But then in 2006, so things were going really well. Me and my husband had got planning permission to build a new home in the Sperrin Mountains. And that had been difficult to acquire that permission. We sort of got it as like a replacement grant eventually. And it took a lot of years to do that because the area is an area of outstanding natural beauty and it's very rugged and rural, and there was a lot of restrictions, visual restrictions. So we were in the midst of building our house, and when we were in the midst of that, this was my third child I was expecting. I was going through some stresses at work, and I used to share with my husband, not going to worry about the house, far too much, can't be worried about the house. I just look forward to the day that the windows go in. And things took a turn, and I reached the end of my pregnancy. And at the near the end of the pregnancy, I felt very uncomfortable for maybe the last week. I felt like the baby's not moving a lot, and I was worried about it and getting it checked out and told, yeah, everything's fine. And because everything was fine, we went back home, and that night, a few things happened with my oldest daughter, who, she sort of seemed to have a relationship with the wee baby in my tummy, and she seemed to talk to the baby every night and say, hello, how are you doing? How are you in there? And give the tummy a wee pat and give it a kiss. But this particular night, she actually touched my tummy gently, kissed it, and she just very quickly said, goodbye, baby. And I'll never forget, whenever she said the words goodbye, it sort of struck me because she usually said, good night. And I remember sort of, what does she mean by that? But I didn't think too much about it. And that night, whenever I went to my bed to rest, um, I felt three very, very strong kicks in my upper rib cage, and these were more powerful kicks than I had had for weeks, and so powerful that I actually remember thinking, "Oh, the baby's all right." And I lay and I had a really, really good sound sleep that night. But it was actually the next day, and I was sitting doing my paperwork because when you have a business, it's go, 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 and especially when you're self-employed, you don't really have days off. So I was doing my paperwork to get prepared before the baby comes, staff wages, things like that. And I noticed that just very slowly, very gradually, that the baby hadn't moved. And we went to the hospital, and we received the very sad news that our baby had died. So it was life changing. Whenever when a moment like that you don't expect comes into your life, everything alters, everything changes. And they tried to start me off that day to have our baby, but that didn't transpire. That didn't happen. And that day was actually my husband, and we were married 6 years, so it was our sixth wedding anniversary. We'd received such sad news. It's still hard. It's incredible when we lose people that they're a big spark, they're a big piece of love, pure love in our life, and we're expecting to have this love with um, especially our children. Nobody expects their children to go before them. But a few things happened to me the next day when I actually had him, and I had a beautiful glass angel in my hand. There's a whole story to this glass angel that had come into my life through a series of synchronicities before I gave birth. And I was actually holding the angel in my hand. And during the very last few moments of actually physically giving birth to him, all the pain, all the physical pain in my body actually left, and I went into another dimension. And that dimension that I went into, it was it was a sacred dimension. There was so much love, so much love. It's quite difficult to speak about it, but it is life changing. It's the way, it's 18 years ago from it happened this year, but the way I would reflect on it now, it I would actually nearly think of it, the power of it. And obviously, we're on a full moon today. I don't know, this is a great day for me to be doing this because full moon's an emotion. It's quite strong in me. But the power of the love, it just, I suppose it was difficult, but it did something very, very powerful to me that day. And I am still trying to understand that. And even though there was so much heartbreak, so much pain, for me, that moment in my life, it was also because of the love. There was so much beauty. And, you know, the interweaving of the opposites was so powerful. I I relate it to I like listening to near death experiences, and I think the reason that I like listening to near death experiences is because I relate so much. I feel that in a way when I gave birth to Liam, my son, that it was both worlds. It was just so, so powerful. Um, and on the way, a few days later, whenever we were taking his wee body from the hospital to the burial grounds, and he was to be buried with the old generations that had lived in the Sperrin Mountains before we were building. You know, that the last people to live here. So he was actually to be buried with them, but it was on the way to the graveyard that I remember seeing my first conscious rainbow. And you know, I remember the thought that I had at that time. But then what happened was in a very quick succession over the next few months. And I'm not going to talk about it too much more because my talk would go on too long. Um, but the rainbows kept appearing. They kept making their presence, making their comfort there, everything that they made it just there was something about the rainbow. It's so hard to explain all this. There was something about the rainbow, and it I had such powerful experiences with it actually physically manifesting, with the rainbow actually physically showing in my life at such synchronistic and strong moments that, like, within a short period of a few months, like, I knew he was communicating with me through the rainbows. And this continued for a lot of years. And like, people might think whenever, you know, maybe like 5, 6, 7 years later that things sort of pan out and you're forgetting. But I found at that stage for me things were starting to intensify, and that actually, as he would have been growing in the spirit realm, as he would have been like um because I knew that he, even though he had passed, I I know he is there. He is, you know, that the essence of it's nearly like he has a job and he's doing his job on the other side, and he's supporting me to do my sharing and to bridge the spirit and the physical realm together. That's the only way I can explain it. And I have wrote a book called Rainbow Birther, and it goes much deeper into all the sequences with the whole spiritual journey, with the dreams, with, like, there's magic, there's like actually like there's things that have happened to me over the years that, like, only for they have happened to me, I don't even know if I will believe it coming out of other people. But like, I have had like a good few what I would call mystical experiences over the period of this journey. And basically, this year I felt very compelled in 2024 to push forward with the sharing of the sacred rainbow, and what it enco it because it it encompasses, it brings together so many working, varied different elements all working together in our lives. And it is there to support each and every one of us. even though I'm sitting here, sort of like people probably think ranting and raving about the rainbow, like we all are encoded and wear like a sacred cloak around us, which, people will talk of it as the auric field or light body. But it's like a rainbow cloak that is within our being and our outer being and around the earth. It's a very, very real thing. And what I want to say just before I do another wee sharing is, it was hard what happened all those years ago, and but at the same time I wouldn't change anything. And I feel um I have him the way I was meant to have him. I have that relationship with Liam. And Liam, that was a big part of the journey. His name was picked when I was 16. I didn't have him till I was 32. And, you know, I didn't consciously realize at the time his name, Love, I Am. Love, L, I am. I am love, I am. And so what I did name him that after he was born, but I didn't consciously realize, until recovering from the trauma years later. Oh my God, like that's what was there. That is what was in the room as I was physically giving birth to him. It was the power, the absolute power of the love. And I say this to so many people, love cannot die. And this is the bridge. Like this is the rainbow bridge. And I suppose if we look at it biblically, the rainbow has always been associated with hope and love and faith. So faith is like belief. So we have known this for millennium. Um, but I do feel like because our world has become so materialistic that a lot of people have forgot about the a lot of people might not just have any belief. And it's not that any of us can give each other belief either. It's such a personal journey that you know, like if I just bring it back to the beginning, I felt the void. I felt this void in myself before I came back to a deep knowing that, oh, there's so much more than the material. That's just a snippet of it. It's just to be able to share with people that it's real. It's it's real. So I hope that sharing today, I know it's quite deep, it's probably hard for people to listen to. I hope that sharing today um can bring some people some peace. Especially if they have lost somebody, they feel they've lost somebody that they deeply love. I hope that, from the sharing, they'll receive some peace. Um, I did go on and train as a colour therapist, and what I would say about the colour therapy journey that I had myself, for me, it wasn't a logical or an intellectual journey. The calling for me to go deeper into working with the rainbow and the colour was actually totally and utterly through the feeling body, through the part of me that is, I'm going to say, more connected to my heart space. It was so, so deep, and I will do everything I can to share that further with people, so that you also can experience the rainbow as the living life force that it is. That you can sort of touch into that and have a relationship with this nature that is within you. So what I want to do very briefly as well is I'll just do a wee share with you so you all have some more understandings about the rainbow from a more ancient perspective. So I've never done this before. So what I'm trying to do here is share my screen. Share screen. Put application window. So I think I'm doing this now. Hopefully that took me a wee minute. Sorry. Sorry, just bear with me a wee second for this. Because the thing that I'm trying to press seems to be... I was hoping to get it up fully. I've probably got it partly up. I think I've got it up. That's what I was hoping to do. So I want to do this wee share with you all sort of more on a global perspective, on a world perspective of, well, what is this rainbow? What is it that feeds our soul? What is it that why does it speak to us? So this is called a wee few slides I'm going to share with you, Rainbow Origins from Cosmos to Earth. And this is a wee reflection of the galaxy. It's not actually a Hubble photograph, but it's one that I thought was very beautiful because it looks like wee tiny squirrely universes that are starting in the dark from, we have to have this pure space of darkness and stillness to be able to actually then just see the first flicker of light, which becomes very, very powerful. And if you think of this out in the universe, out in the cosmos, and the way that, within this template of, what we think of as emptiness, darkness, but it's like it's nearly like there's a fullness about it too, because it can become a container for light And, straight away, the dark and the light, we need all components to be working together. So do not feel lonely. The entire universe is inside of you. This was a quote by Rumi. Truly, there is a universe. We might close our eyes, go in and feel like this darkness, this void. There is just this beautiful inner swirling universe inside our being, for real. So this is more the Hubble, the photographs. The universe is saying, allow me to flow through you unrestricted, and you will see the greatest magic you have ever seen. And I'll probably be killing the name Callis Johill. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. And this is another very beautiful quote from Elizabeth Gilbert. I really like this because I probably like it, I relate to it. The universe buries strange jewels deep within us all and then stands back to see if we can find them. I'm sure there's so many of us could relate to that. Okay. Now, in the ancient Aboriginal culture, the rainbow serpent is a creature that was attributed to the moulding and making of the earth's diverse and beautiful features. As the serpent slithered with its scaly coat through the plains of the entire earth, the serpent's movements brought forth the hills, valleys, gorges, dips, the mounds, rivers, and lakes, creating a diverse and beautiful terrain where the land has once been flat and characterless. So it's so beautiful to think of this. You can see, why this is so ancient. This is like it's like a creation story. It's so, so holy and ancient within the tradition of especially, the Aboriginal, but also all over the world, that this sacred making of the plains of the earth. So the rainbow serpent then rested and coiled itself into a water hole where it lays in rest. The ancient Aboriginal people gave great respect to this powerful creature, creator, being, immensely respecting water, which is the resting place of the being. Should the rainbow serpent be disturbed, there can be great weather cataclysms. During heavy rain downpours, the serpent's energetic body can awake and arise from its water hole to travel into the clouds and across the horizon into another water hole. Rainbows are said to be the serpent snaking, so the serpent snaking from one watering hole to the next, replenishing water holes around the country. This is the explanation given as to why some sources of water never dry up, even during times of great drought. The many different tribes amongst the Aboriginal peoples all harbour their own unique understanding and relationship of the spectacular rainbow serpent. The ancient inhabitants of the earth understood that the elements are alive, living forces living out on the earth the same way the plant, animal, and human kingdoms do. So they're very alive, just an alive. I feel that's what's, we're all a bit flat now, not realizing about, how these elements on the outside are also incomposed on the inside. So that was so beautiful that they had that relationship. So from the archives, The Serpent and the Goddess by Judith Shaw. The otherworldly energy of snake, its vitality, its uncanny ability to sense, and its ability to shed its skin and then to be reborn, must have invoked feelings of awe in our ancestors. All across the prehistoric world, one finds depictions of snake and the spiral or mender as snake's symbol. Creation, primal energy, life force, snakes, and mysterious cold-blooded creatures slithering silently across the land, sleeping with open, lidless eyes, hearing without ears, but feeling Earth's vibrations, and using their forked tongues to smell in lieu of a nose. To the human imagination, this enigmatic being is both chthonic and spiritual, tying together heaven and earth. Though no stories survive from the early Neolithic period of old Europe, the preponderance of imagery leads us to the conclusion that the snake goddess, often appearing as one with the bird goddess, was felt everywhere, ruling earth, water, and air, nurturing the world with the feminine principle. And you know, when I think of snake as with belly to the ground. And you know, when we think of our belly as human beings, as the humans we are, like the belly, this is where we grow our babies. This is where we digest life. This is where we digest our relationships. It's such a powerful thing. So Crochan in Irish and Manx was a goddess, and in myth, a very old snake goddess about whom little is known. Because of her linkage to the serpent image, she was probably once a regional Mother Earth goddess or a goddess of rebirth. Others speculate that her lost legends were once part of forgotten creation myths. And that is in the book Celtic Myth and Magic by Aidan McCoy. And Cora, she was another forgotten serpent goddess of Ireland and Scotland. Cora called forth the serpents of life, death, and rebirth to twine her promise of eternity around the lives of her people. In a bloody battle, St. Patrick of Ireland killed Cora. But I know, you know, in Ireland, Patrick is known to have got rid of all of the snakes, and people would say that there were no snakes, but you know, climates have changed over millennia and millennia, and you know, I didn't think until I discovered by my cat discovering up here in the Sperrin Mountains that I didn't know we had lizards even, which they're very snake-like with weed feet, so you have newts and lizards, but we actually have the lizard here, so these wee creatures come out of somewhere. So anyway, where sexuality is celebrated, snake remains an honored deity. Where sexuality is repressed, a sinful snake is viewed as evil. And this would be a sharing in by Judith Shaw. So serpents, they're related to both poison and medicine. And serpents, they renew their skins. They are self-regenerating. So it's like they continually renew themselves, give birth to themselves, or start with a clean slate. That would be another way to think of the serpents. Asclepius, I don't know that I'm saying his name right either. This would have been a Greek god of healing. And his symbol is used in the medical industry to this day. It is known as the caduceus. So it's like the symbol, like a sword and the snake intertwined. And this is a very, very ancient symbol. Um, in ancient cultures, snakes were guardians of sacred places. In Christianity, the snake is associated with Eve, who has been charged with the offence of disobeying holy sacred order through listening to the whispering of the snake. And everybody knows about the apple containing the knowledge. And it's funny whenever, I when I sort of think of like Christianity, and I view the story, all that I really see is like it's a story where blame starts, the finger pointing, it's your fault. And like to me, a lot of disharmony, a lot of what is difficult on the earth goes back simply to this, to that divide between the divine feminine and the divine masculine. Like together, you have divine birth if they're in balance with each other. But, for myself, I know there is wisdom in all sharings and spirituality, and there is wisdom, there is gold, but there also is, because of the polarities and the earth that we live in, there is well, as just like I said, the finger pointing, the great divide as well. So it's very interesting. I know it's the rainbow, and a lot of it's about this snake, but the rainbow snake is such an ancient embodiment of the earth culture as well. So I just want to mention as well, in Hawaiian mythology, the rainbow is known as a pathway between dimensions, between the earthly and the heavenly realms. The Hawaiians have many names and ways to describe the formations of the rainbows, and have listed some of the names of the different families, the different tribes in the Americas. So the Native Americans recognized the importance of living in harmony with nature and revered the rainbow as a sacred symbol of hope and unity. The rainbow represents a covenant between the Creator and people to protect and honor the natural world. So upon suffering, beyond suffering, the red nation shall rise again and be blessing a sick world. They shall be a blessing. They'll help a world that's not where we could be. A world filled with broken promises, selfishness, and separations. A world longing for light again. I see a time of 7 generations when all the colours of mankind will gather under the sacred tree of life, and the whole earth will become one circle again. In that day, there will be those among the Lakota, and who will carry knowledge and understanding of unity among all living things, and the young white ones will come to those of my people and ask for this wisdom. I salute the light within your eyes where the whole universe dwells. And for when you are at the center within you, and I am in that place within me, we shall be as one. So this is beautiful wisdom shared from a source, the legend of the Rainbow Warriors, the Earth Stories collection that I'm reading out to everybody here. So Crazy Horse, he was a Lakota Oglala leader. He saw his people being driven into spiritual darkness and poverty, while the white people prospered in a material way all around them. But even in the darkest times, he saw that the eyes of a few of his people kept the light of dawn and the wisdom of the earth, which they passed on to some of their grandchildren. He saw the coming of automobiles and airplanes, and twice he saw great darkness and heard screams and explosions when millions died in 2 great world wars. But after the Second Great War passed, he saw a time come when his people began to awaken. Not all at once, but a few here and there, and then more and more. He saw that they were dancing in the beautiful light of the spirit world under the sacred tree, even while still on earth. Then he was amazed to see that dancing under that tree were representatives of all races who had become brothers, and he realised that the world would be made new again, in peace and harmony, not just by his people, but by the members of all the races of humankind. And that again shared by the beautiful Earth Stories collection, The Legend of the Rainbow Warriors. And you know, so much of the sharings have come to pass. Let us show our beauty of kindness and love to others through our words, deeds, and thoughts. Let us make one rainbow. And that was a beautiful statement by Namo Madida Butsa. And that's from a Hawaiian, sharing the sources on the screen here. The connected to Hawaii. So I'll just stop the share here. I thought I had one more screen to share, but it hasn't actually showed up for me. So I'll just stop the share and come back to you all here. And on the last page that didn't actually come up, there's just a wee picture of in her rainbow wings of Ma'at. Ma'at is an Egyptian. She is an embodiment. I don't want to use the word a goddess because for her people, she was known as like an energy, like an embodiment more than a goddess. But she specifically would have represented truth, justice, and cosmic order. And with that, sharing and wisdom from Egypt, the years, you're just going back so many thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Like, I really do believe that we live in a time continuum, in a place where we can't even comprehend how ancient we actually are as beings coming and experiencing life here on this planet. through our beautiful, precious bodies and our beautiful, precious families and our beautiful, precious world, countries that we live in, and that we we're coming back to this realization, a lot of us, and we're just embracing it fuller and fuller, more and more. So I just want to invite each and every one of you, um, if you would like to receive further sharings from myself, I will be doing a live get together seminar on Thursday, the 9th of January. And it's going to be at 5 p.m. London time, GMT time. It'll be 12 p.m. New York time and 9 a.m. Pacific time. And I just want to invite you all to link on to the link below if you would like to join me further to share some more wisdom, just to knit things together. And, you know, I'm not going to say too much. What I'm going to say to you all is a rainbow sort of just pops up and delivers unexpectedly. You can't make a rainbow. Well, you can. That's right. Scientifically, you can make a rainbow through the. But I mean, when you're out in nature spontaneously, that's usually where they bring their most just their beauty to us. We don't know what's coming or what's coming, so I hope a few of you will decide to link on and join me for the webinar that I bring to you all that day. And I'm signing off. Thank you very much all for being here and really enjoy the summit. Thank you.